Hey guys, how are you going with your Lalu? I finished mine and I have 3 ideas to share with you that might make your line making a bit more fun. Or give you something to play with as you cut and collage and paint and pencil and crayon and do whatever you're doing with Lalu. My first tip for you to try is to play music while you're working. I do this all the time. It helps me relax and get into the moment. I don't know what it is about the part of the brain that fires up when you listen to music and the part of the brain that's active when you're making art, but they speak to each other, at least for me anyway, and they work together in amazing ways. So they calm me down, they help me get into that elusive flow state. So what that is that you lose awareness of where you are or perhaps what the time is, and your attention and your focus is right in the moment, and you're just with the line or the paint or the brush or the water or whatever you're doing, you're just in that moment. And it's a really great experience because it stops you focusing or stressing about what your end product is going to be. It allows you to experiment more because you're not worried about being so precise or getting it right. And then you learn things because things pop up that are not happening in your analytical mind. There's that flow. So the music that you like will depend on your personal preference, and I have found that different types of music affect my brush stroke and my color choices and the shapes that I'm making. They affect that in different ways. So I might go faster or slower, there'll be sharper or softer lines. So just play around with that. It's really interesting to experiment with those sorts of things. The second thing I would suggest that you do is to work in layers. So sometimes you might go in with dry media first and then put wet over the top of it. And if you're using crayon, then you'll find that it will repel your paint if it's a waxy crayon, or if you go in with paint and then you put pencil and crayon on the top and then more paint, you can observe how they work together. You end up getting more pattern, more depth to your design, and I think it's more interesting at the end. The third thing that I would suggest that you do is to think about your negative space. So in art, when we talk about positive and negative space, we're talking about, so say for example, if you're looking at your collage paper and you see foliage or a leaf on there. So if you imagine the leaf, this space here is your positive space. It's the object that you're looking at. And then your negative space is the space that is around the outside of your object. I really like to play with my negative space. It's become a really useful thing for me. So instead of just focusing on creating this leaf or colouring it in or painting it, I will extend my paint off the perimeter of the leaf. So it's going through the negative space and the positive space, and my pattern will do the same thing. What that means is that when you go to cut it out, your shape looks less contrived, so you've got a more natural finish, so your line just isn't starting and stopping on the leaf, it's going on and off, or your dots are going on and off. So it's more varied, it's more relaxed, it's more interesting. It also means you can change the shape of your leaf really easily, so you could make it bigger, you could cut out a section of it, you could scallop it around the edge, and you'll still have colour on there. So those are my 3 tips for you to play with. Listen to music and try different types of music, see what they do. Work in layers and experiment. And remember your negative space. All right, go make Lalu and be sure to share with me. I love seeing what you're doing, your processes and your finished products and the variety. It's amazing. You guys are great. Okay, see you.